There we go. Well, happy Monday, everyone. Thanks for um, taking some time out of your busy schedule to just kind of get up to date on what we have going on. And then also hear from a current service member about her service and what the site that she's serving at does, where they're located, and everything like that. So last month, Hotel Inc., I remember there presented on the services that Hotel Inc. provides in the Bowling Green area. So I'm happy that we're continuing to do that this month. And then, of course, this is a pretty relaxed. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or write it in the chat. Um, we have a little check-in question. So what's one thing giving you energy this week? Um, Again, you can just jot it down in the chat if you want. I'd like to kind of see what's getting you through this week. Paula says, it's my birthday week. Me too. My birthday is on Wednesday. And you stole my answer. No, I'm just kidding. I love that. Happy early birthday to you. Okay, we share a birthday. I love that. Thank you. I'll give everybody a few minutes just to type out, what's giving you some energy this week. Let's see here. Jaden says, I'm filming a short film this week, so I'm excited for that. That's great. Jamie, spring is coming up. Yes. This past weekend before the weather went back to cold, we spent a lot of time outside enjoying it with the windows up and just breathing in that fresh air. Crystal said, Jesus and coffee. I understand that. Noel says my husband, I guess. I get that too. And Mabry says, Happy birthday and Diet Mountain Dew. Yes, gotta get a little bit of extra caffeine. Alexis shares, Jesus, my twins, and my freshly cleaned house. Ah, yes, a little bit of that extra spring cleaning. And Summer says, my daughter for sure. Well, thank you guys so much. I thought that would be a good check-in question to start this week with just, thinking about what's, something positive. Okay, so we're going to go right into program updates and reminders. This is just my one of many reminders of if you have not already, please send over any service forms for the month of February. Or if you have some wrap up forms for a household that you reported on in a previous month, just send over that wrap up form for them. If your position works with volunteers, go ahead and send over your volunteer form as well. I really appreciate you guys adding this into just kind of like your service routine and just adding it into your everyday schedule. That's what my hope was when we kind of set that 15 of every month for the previous month. Um, so that's just my little reminder, like I always do. Um, we talked about this in February, but I still wanted to keep this slide because there are in-person Serve Kentucky member roundtable dates that are coming up. So last week, Serve Kentucky was out in Paducah. And a couple of weeks ago, I sent out a calendar invitation to those of you that are serving in an area nearby, one of the locations for the in-person dates. So we have a few members that are in the Hindman area out in Eastern Kentucky. So I've added you to that calendar invitation. That's the next in-person one. And this is just my reminder too that your commute time to the meeting counts as hours towards your hour requirement, your time there at the meeting, and then also your drive time back home. That all counts towards your service hour requirement. When you attend one of these meetings, even if it's a virtual one, you would log that time under AmeriCorps training on your timesheet. That way, if we're ever audited by Serve Kentucky or AmeriCorps, they will see, okay, this person participated, and I would be able to clearly show that. They're going to be in Lexington towards the end of April, and then back in Northern Kentucky um, at the, well, just a couple of days after they're in Lexington. And then the first virtual roundtable date has passed. It was towards the end of February, and the next one will be April 7th. So during that first week of April. So if for some reason there's not an in-person location close to you, it would be really great for you to join that April 7th virtual member roundtable so that you can talk to Serve Kentucky program officers. This is just a time for them to get to know you and other AmeriCorps members serving in other Kentucky programs, and just talk to you guys in a welcoming space about your experience with your program and your site. Yeah, so it's just a good, you get to ask any questions you want to ask them as well. Before I skip, I know in the February monthly email, I shared the virtual link, like the Zoom link. I'll share it again with my recap and my summary email from today's meeting as well. So you'll have it. Moving on to our spring service project. So this is a time where we get together and we partner with a construction site that typically has a construction member with through our program. So we have nailed down those dates and where we will be. So we will be out in Paducah. I know many of you, as you were onboarding, I shared that information with you. If you were at a site visit, shared that information with you. We are still planning to be out in Western Kentucky, McCracken County, in May. So the way the information that we have right now with the dates is, so May 20th, which is a Wednesday, that would be like a travel day. So, check into hotels is in the evening hours. So, you could grab dinner on your way down. We will either reimburse you after, or we will provide a per diem deposit in your bank account for the meal. And it's all based on the meal reimbursement rate that's in your member service agreement, which I'll outline that as the dates get closer. But on day one, May 21st is a Thursday, and it will be a full day. So 8:30 to 4:30, we will be in the central time zone. So I think that's very important to make note of. Day two is a Friday. It's May 22nd, and we typically just wrap up any loose ends that we need to from the first day of what we were working on. Some different project ideas were kind of thrown out when the member and the director and I were talking about our time there with them. One of those projects would be some interior painting, which is great. I think that that's something that we can all do. So that may be a project that we will be doing. We may be split up. So some of us may be at one household, and a group may be at another household doing repair work. So those are just some of the things that I will be asking you in the registration, kind of to gauge what you are comfortable doing while you're with us during these 2 days. Painting did come up quite a bit in our conversation, so I think painting will definitely be part of our um, project for sure, but we may be split up. If some of us have a little bit higher level of construction experience or skills, um, we may, again, in that registration, you'll let me know what you're comfortable with doing. There may be some repair projects like helping build a handrail for steps, or helping build a ramp to the front door, just as some examples. So in that registration, I will get that out midweek this week to everyone. I ask that you fill it out by April 17th. And that's so I can let our site, Paducah Alliance of Neighbors, know our head count of how large our group is going to be. So then they can make sure that um, a project for a group, and then that just kind of gives them a better idea of what the, 2 days will look like for us. Um, Day one, when we are there, we will have, so Paducah Alliance of Neighbors, their office is actually in a church. And so I think we're going to have a cookout. So we'll have our dinner at the fellowship hall there at the church that their office is in. It's a large space. The site supervisor and director of PAN, they, or she, suggested that. I think a cookout would be a really great um, choice of a meal. I remember when I was a member, we did a cookout for our end of year, one of the end of year celebrations out of the 2 years that I served. And it's going to kind of, I don't know, I like cookout food. But again, in that registration, I'll ask what dietary accommodations or restrictions you may have. So please let me know of any allergies, what your diet consists of, things like that. That would be really helpful when we are thinking about, snacks and lunch as well. We will provide lunch on day one and day two. So just wanted to make sure that you guys can share this information with your site. I will also send an email to site supervisors about our spring service project and when those dates will be, so that they can um, be aware that you will be off site. And um, if you have specific questions about, where you're located at in the state, or whatever questions you might have come up, feel free to, give me a call or text or email me, and we can work those out. Um, I will also have hotel arrangements out in April, so you'll know again what hotel we will be staying at, the address to it. Again, that charge is for the program. You will not be charged when you check in. It will get billed to my HHCK company card. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat now. Lola says, should we wear our AmeriCorps gear? Yeah, I know I didn't include like clothing or the type of attire you should wear. You definitely want to make sure you wear closed-toed shoes. As we get closer to that date, we'll definitely talk about like your AmeriCorps gear. We'll make sure on one of those days, probably on day one, we'll all wear, our AmeriCorps shirt so we can take that group photo to show, this is what we're out doing it out in McCracken County for this project. But I will get all of that out to everyone. Crystal asked, can we carpool? Yes. If you have another member or members at your site, um, and you guys want to carpool, I will always say yes to carpooling. And so obviously whoever drove, um, will complete the mileage reimbursement form. And so after that time together, that following Monday, I will send out, the hours for the actual project. Obviously, your commute times will all vary, but again, you get to count all of that time towards your service hour requirement as well. And I'll also send out the mileage reimbursement form. Any other questions that kind of come up while we're talking about the spring service project? Okay, well, if you have any specific questions, you know how to get in touch with me. I look forward to this every year, and I'm really excited about it. Let's see here. That was the last thing that we were going to talk about today before I hand it over to um, Jaden. Noel said, "Will we get an email reminder?" Of course. That's what I live by. It will be on the Google Calendar that's attached to your um, America Learns account. We will talk about it at the May monthly member meeting. You'll get many, many reminders from literally here on out about the spring service project. Yes, it is a bit of a haul to get to Paducah, but it's been many, many, many years since Homes for All members have been out there. And Paducah's a really cool little town. So I'm excited that this worked out this year and we're going to be out visiting that part. Yeah, well, great. Okay. Whoops. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Jaden Turner. She serves with Housing Development Alliance in Perry County or Hazard, Kentucky. So I'm going to make her the host in case she does want to share her screen, and then I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Does that sound good, Jaden?
Yes, that sounds great.
Give me just a minute. All right. I got to find your name. Sorry. Okay.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. My name is Jaden, and I did make a small presentation, but I kind of lost track of time with being so busy last week and then this weekend. And so it's not super long, but I do just plan on talking, but showing you all the slide and then giving more information than what's on there. I also never shared my screen before, so I'm gonna try to figure this out.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have it pulled up?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, can you see it?
Hold on just a second. My computer is a little slow. Yeah, if you go to the presentation view, there you go. You're good.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, like Holly said, I work as AmeriCorps at the Housing Development Alliance, which is in Hazard, Kentucky. Um, I work in the media department and with the volunteers, which is new. I just worked with a volunteer group just 2 weeks ago, and they were great. And I'll talk more about that later. But here at HCA, I make videos and take photos of the work sites, carpenters, and volunteers. I design posts and any graphics that we may need. And then I also work closely with the volunteer groups that come in. And I do believe we have one coming in this week, so that's exciting as well. I had no idea what HCA was, and I had absolutely no idea what AmeriCorps was. And I had a friend, Mindy, who reached out to me a little bit before I graduated last year, and she sent me a link to AmeriCorps. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I fully thought it was a scam. I thought because it didn't look real to me at first, and she had never messaged me before, and I was a little hesitant at first, and then she sent it again. And I clicked on the link and looked more into it, and I thought that maybe this is something I'd like to do. Because I had no idea what I was going to do when I graduated. I knew that college wasn't something I wanted to do just yet because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I didn't want to go rush into something. And I love film. Like I said, I'm working on a short film this weekend with some of my friends. But that is where my passion lies. I love to create. I'm a very creative person. Anything with film, photography, that's my thing. I also just started doing acting lessons, which has been really fun. Um, but when I talked with Mindy Closer about what I would be doing at HGA as an AmeriCorps, she let me know that I would be working in the media department with her. So I was, you know, very down for that because I might like being a media intern or working in media somewhere. And I just knew that this was a good opportunity, and when there's a good opportunity available, you should never let it pass you by. So I took the job, and it has been amazing. I have learned so many things. My mom told me that, you should really do this because you could make connections with people. And I was like, what are you even talking about? There's no way that I'm gonna make connections with people in the film industry working at HTA. It's amazing the amount of people that I have come into contact with that do work in the film industry through knowing people at HGA, or we just had a volunteer group come in from Boston a couple weeks ago, and one of their moms is the CEO for AMC Network, which is really cool. And so you really don't know what will come when you take this kind of thing, but it's been amazing to make those connections. And yeah, so this next slide is like very brief designs that I've done because I couldn't find everything that I've done and it wouldn't all fit on the page. But I do a lot of birthday posts. This past month we had a lot of birthdays. But that is just one that I made. And then these are our volunteer shirts. And those were a pain because we are rolling out a new not really a new program, but it's just being rebranded. And so I wanted to make sure that we had the colors on there and the program name and all of that on there, but it's the colors don't really work with different t-shirt colors. So it was really hard to make it all work, but the volunteers loved them and that made me really happy. And then down here is a sticker that I made I think we sent those out to our donors as kind of a little thank you for donating to us. And that is a real family and their house that I animated. Um, she is a single mom to, I believe, 4 kids. So I think it kind of meant a lot for me to have her be the family on that sticker because my mom, she is a single mom now and she has done a lot. So it's amazing to see that she worked so hard as well to get her kids that home. So I wanted to include that on there. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit about the volunteer work that I have done. Well, my cat just dragged this down, sorry. Um, so yeah, last week, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, Boston College APA volunteers came to volunteer with us, which I didn't know was probably one of the greatest things to happen in a long time to me because they were amazing. And during their time here, I got to work very closely with them. And when they first came, I got to go in on Sunday and meet them. And they were so exhausted. They had been traveling all day. And even though they were so exhausted, they still were just so attentive towards me and they were listening and they were just so excited to be there, even though they were definitely really tired and probably wished that I would have stopped talking a little sooner. But they were great. And I knew that it was going to be a really good week. And then on Monday, I met them up at the work sites and they were enjoying it so much. They were painting houses at Skyview, and they just absolutely loved it. And later that evening, I went and met them at the church they were staying at and gave them a tour of Hazard. Because although Hazard is very small, it's really cool. And they enjoyed that as well. There wasn't a lot of things happening in town, so I thought it was a bit boring, but they really loved it. And then on Tuesday, We did a Paint the Appalachian Mountains night, which is that picture of us all holding paintings up there. And I didn't think about it at the time, but I didn't, I'm sure they were probably overpainting by the time they came there because they were painting all day long, but they still really enjoyed it. And that was such a great opportunity for me to get to know them and to get to learn more about them and their stories and where they come from. And then on Wednesday, they played the ultimate hide and seek game in their church, which was really fun. I've seen videos of that, and definitely a little scary to do in a dark church. But on Thursday, we did a farewell meal for them, where our land specialist and then um, another guy who works in the construction department, Mark and Dawn, they cooked out for them. They grilled out burgers and they had like potato salad and like cooking out is a big thing in Eastern Kentucky. It's, you get together with your family and you cook out. So we wanted to have that for them as well. And then we played games that night and then on Friday, this top picture up here, I made them little picture frames with photos from their week here and wrote little letters in the back of it. And they just thought that was so special. And to me, it was just something that I felt like, you should do. You want them to remember their trip here, but they just thought it was amazing. But I was so grateful for them and grateful that I did join AmeriCorps and HTA because I wouldn't have met them otherwise. And they I've lived here in Hazard my whole life, and not once have I ever looked at it the way that I do now. Because of them, they allowed me to see Hazard in a completely new perspective, and I will always be grateful for that. When I was driving through town that day that they had left, I just felt like I was driving through a new town again. And Hazard, again, it's very small, but there's so much beauty here, and there's not a lot of opportunity here, but if you take a look inside from somebody else's perspective, you can see all the good that is still here. And so I'm very glad to have met them, and they kind of allowed me to feel okay about leaving and pursuing my dreams without feeling like I'm leaving because I hate it here. Like one of them had wrote in a letter to me as well, because I like to do this thing if I meet new people, have them write down words of advice in a little journal that I have. And one of them wrote that we need more hazard people in the rest of the world. And so that kind of, clicked in my head that, I can still leave and take a bit of hazard with me. And when I come back, I can bring everything that I've learned back into hazard as well and make it even better. So I know that they just really left a huge impact on me. And I know the work that they did here, working with HDA and being up on the work sites with the crews, it really meant a lot to them as well. They have never been in a place like Eastern Kentucky, and we're kind of a poorer county, but they were so, I don't know, they really enjoyed the work that they did with us, and I enjoyed getting to know them, and so I'm very grateful that I got to work with them, and I had no idea that I would be this grateful and have this big of an impact left on me prior to joining HTA, so I'm very grateful for that. Next, I will talk about the history of HGA, and it is International Women's History Month, which is amazing. But there were two amazing women who started HGA, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But let me close this off really quick because I can't really see my screen that well. Um, okay. The idea that became the Housing Development Alliance began in the minds of a group of devout Eastern Kentucky women on a mission to help their community. With the help of a grant, they started a local food bank and formed an organization called Hazard Perry County Community Ministries. As the organization grew, so did the number of programs. These amazing women found a way to fund a daycare program, a homeless shelter, and a crisis aid program. In the 1990s, Jerry Roll was hired as the director of Hazard Perry County Community Ministries, and she, along with Jennifer Weber, the director of community programs at Community Ministries, discovered that housing issues were a leading cause of financial distress. Hold on, this thing is in my way, sorry. Cause of financial distress for mountain families seeking help from the crisis aid program. These two women learned that HUD's newly, um, sorry, this little thing is in my way. Newly created home program had a set aside program for community-based groups. So they formed a board of directors on September 8th, 1993, and the Housing Development Alliance was born. And then in 1994, Scott McReynolds was hired as HGA's executive director. And since then, HGA has grown into a multi-faced and highly respected nonprofit organization driven by a strong desire to improve our community. HGA has met the housing needs of over 3,000 people while providing a much needed economic boost to to the local economy or rural economy. There's things on my screen that's making it hard for me to read this, but yeah, these are the two women. On the top is Jennifer, and on the bottom is Jerry. And Jennifer's husband, Chris Stahl, also works at HGA. Um, and then I had this little quote about Women's History Month. Women's History Month pays homage to the trailblazers before us, builds hope and inspiration to us, and offers an example of pride and excellence for younger generations. I've had the honor of meeting these two women, and they are really incredible, and they are very passionate about all the things that they do. Jerry is really is like Superwoman. She has done so many things, and she can sit and talk to you all day long about all of the things that she has done. And she's so humble about all of it, and she just, she's great. She's a huge inspiration for me as well. And that is as far as I got with the presentation, but I'll just, talk about just a little bit more about HCA real fast. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. That was very difficult to read all of that on there with all these different things on the screen too. But
No, you did great. You did great.
thank you.
Yeah.
There is a couple other things about HCA that I will share as well, that I had made notes of. But we have served Appalachian, Eastern Kentucky for over 30 years, and since then, we have built over 400 new homes. We've completed around 1,100 plus home repairs and rehabilitations. And we have developed 40 affordable rental units. You know, where we're located at is a very, it's a poor town. And the private market development alone has not kept up with the need for affordable housing. And with all of the flooding that we had as well, it kind of, reduced safe housing. Um, and, for us, housing is not, it's not just a shelter. It's, it's a basic human need. And when families have that stable, affordable housing, your children do better in school, they do better in life, and local employers, they can retain workforce. And most importantly, your community will grow stronger. And without that stable housing, none of that is possible. So the work that we do here, it's really important. It is just as important as all of the work that you all do as well. And it's something that I had no idea about before I graduated high school and learned about HJ and AmeriCorps. I didn't even know what it was. And so now being here, I've learned a lot, and I've also become, a little bit more humble as well, because you see a lot of stories about these people, where these people came from. And there's a woman now who's getting ready to move into a house that was just built, and I saw pictures of her home that she's living in right now. And I can't believe that someone can live in that. I mean, there's barely even a roof. I don't even think there's running water, and that's just so sad. And so it makes me humble and grateful for, the house that I grew up in. And it also makes me grateful to be a part of such an amazing organization that does, wants to help these people. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I don't do a lot of presentations or talking like this, but it's something I've wanted to do more of because I want to get more comfortable with speaking in front of people, especially with the career that I want to do. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. I hope I didn't bore you all.
Thank you, Jaden. Hold on just a sec. Let me see. Can you make me the
The
host
host, yes.
just in case the
How do I
recording?
how do I get
If
that? Do
you
I
see
click on
my
here?
picture, if you go
Yes.
up and you see the three dots,
Okay.
You should be able to make host.
Um, Boosting couples. Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay, hold on. I see your name, but I don't see the
If you
dots.
hover your mouse over me
Yes.
and then the three little dots, it's like in a
I
little
don't,
blue square.
I'm not sure. Let me close this off. Let me see. They're not popping up.
No, it's okay
Um,
then. It'll be fine. It'll
this,
record on my computer. It's no
okay.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
of course.
talking a little bit about your position and how it ties into the overall mission of Housing Development Alliance. So they are one of our housing development sites. So they do a lot of rehab, repair work, and a lot of new home builds to make people homeowners. And like she mentioned, they also have rental units for people who are experiencing homelessness. Um, so with Jaden's position, she is doing some of the behind the scenes to make sure that HDA's mission is getting out there to the public. Like she mentioned, a lot of the media that she puts out there. I encourage you, if you have a minute, to go to Instagram or Facebook and follow HDA's Facebook page. They make a post probably daily, and it's just really encouraging to see some of the households and some of the great work that they're doing out in Eastern Kentucky. Um, so thank you again, Jaden, for sharing, and I can't wait to hear about the more, or sorry, as the weather warms up, the volunteer groups and just seeing how many volunteer groups you guys get out there to Hazard, especially with the large project you guys are working on with some other housing developers up at Skyview. So a little bit about the Skyview project. Correct me too um, if I'm saying incorrect things, that this project is for flood survivors from, um, is it the 22 flood and the 25?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, HDA along with another housing development, they're actually in one of our AmeriCorps sites too, called Homes. They're up there building new homes for flood survivors, and I think the Appalachian Service Project. Are there any other?
Um, I think on our other sites, I know Samaritan's Purse is up there as well, but I think
Okay,
at Skyview it is
those three.
just those. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that is incredible, and that's actually in Knott County, right?
Chestnut Ridge.
Chestnut Ridge. Sorry, that's in Knott
Yes.
County.
And then
Sorry.
Skyview is here in Perry County.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, so they've
Yes.
got some really large projects going on to help move people to higher ground so that they are safe from high waters, and again have a safe place to call home. Um, yeah, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
of course.
sharing. Does anybody have any questions for Jaden that maybe didn't get brought up? I'm really glad that you guys talked to, or I'm really glad that a few months ago when I was like, let's talk about topics for these meetings, that you guys were like, I want to hear from other members serving in different places. And so so far we've had really great presentations. You guys can talk so confidently about your site and what you're there doing. And that's really great, right? Because it's all about connecting your service term to your site as well. And so just good job, guys. You guys are doing great. I love hearing about it. And then I will reach out to, unless you want to volunteer. to talk about your site. Actually, next month is Fair Housing Month. I had to, and I literally said that, and I meant to make a slide. But anyways, next month is Fair Housing Month. So hopefully Kentucky Fair Housing, Noelle, I know you were on here, will do your little 1 hour kind of crash fair housing training, which is so great, not only for the clients that you guys are working with to just know their rights, but it's also good for you as you go out into, your whether you're renting or buying, you need to know your rights as well when it comes to fair housing laws. So, Noelle,
If
I'll
I
be,
may,
yeah.
that's on the 16th of April. I'll see if I can't get that email out to you so you get it out to the members.
Yes, that would be great. We'll probably have it if, oh, you guys already have your training set up.
It's our big one, our big fair housing training is coming up on the 16th of April.
Okay. Okay. Yes. 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 Okay. Thank you. That'll be great. And so when you do, I believe it's a 3 hour fair housing training, but it's worth every minute. You get a certificate for participating. And Noel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's
Yeah, that's correct.
okay.
If you go to the 3 hour one, you get the certificate. I
Yeah.
can see if we have any smaller ones coming up. I think we might, but I'll have to check. But usually we have that really big one, and then we have a small one in October. But I'll have to check because things have gotten a little wonky.
Yeah. 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 That's great. That's great. And I'll be sure to share that out at the beginning of April for the 3 hour training that you guys do. Um, well, great. I know that we covered quite a bit, but I will get this recording uploaded to our YouTube. That way I can share the link to out to everyone. The biggest thing is, making sure that you put the spring service project on your calendars for May. And if you have any questions about that, you know how to get in touch with me. Um, and I don't know if where you are at in Kentucky, it's snowing here in Frankfort, so I hope you guys are not seeing snow
It
right
is also snowing here in Hazard
now. Oh my gosh, what
after it
kind
was
of
just 80 degrees yesterday.
yes.
Pouring here in Lexington and Moorhead.
Gosh.
What are we going to do? Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. Um, if I don't talk to you the rest of the week, have a great week. And I will let everybody go.